strike and 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 strike until you have victory. For every enemy that is aligned against you, let there be that we would strike the ground, for you will give us victory, God. I hear a sound of abundance of rain. I hear a sound of victory. I hear a sound of shouting and singing. I hear a sound of victory. I hear a sound of an abundance of rain. I hear a sound of victory. I hear a sound of an abundance of rain. I hear a sound of victory. The Lord says it is done. The Lord says it is done. The Lord says it is done. For I hear victory, 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 victory in the corridors of heaven. In the corridors of heaven, victory, 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 victory. For angels are being released right now. Angels are being dispatched right now. Hamanda aka ata raka teda baka sanda ata ambo osa kata rite eke banda ata rike didi ashata. For angels have even been dispatched from Africa right now. Africa right now. Africa right now. From Africa right now. They're coming here. They're coming here. In the name of Jesus. From South America. They're coming here. They're coming here. They're coming here. They're coming here. From Africa. From South America. Angelic forces. Angelic reinforcement. Angelic reinforcement. Angelic reinforcement. Pika hata anda ata. Ora bata rata anda eke eke manda rasata. For I hear the sound of victory. 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 I hear.
Tonight, a late night update. Well, we don't hear the sound of victory. We hear the sound of entrapment, mandated, blackmail, as the impeding war now in Iran continues with no strategy in, no strategy out. The American people and the public alike begin to become very unruly. We're going to have a look in that late night update. Get ready.
Mahala, mahala, kala, mahala, I hear the sound of victory. I hear the sound of victory. Mahala, kula, mula kalir kamna, mula kabala, shakalaka.
Well, good evening, everybody. Wherever you find yourself, good evening. I am Dean Ryan, and I get carried away. I do my evening prayers usually in tongue, but this time you guys heard it for reals. Anyways, welcome to Late Night Update, everybody. I am Dean Ryan, your late night host, who is looking and hearing sounds, but victory is not one of them. Victory is not one of them. That was the White House spiritual advisor, I think Polly White, if I got that name correct. I think because she is just so entrenched, she just goes pale white, and you're looking at it like the greatest performance art we've ever seen since like Yoko Ono was doing this. I mean, that's how great she is. Anyways, a round of applause for that. That's just an incredibly lovely Christian Zionist performer. Just wonderful. Tonight's episode is the Christian Zionist War with Iran. If you didn't pick up on that, that's right. Now reports are coming out that one of the main reasons, if not only, wink, wink, reason that we are having this war with Iran, because there really hasn't been a case made. Why exactly? Nobody. But in the event that there is one, the Christian Zionists, the evangelicals have it. They said this is God's chosen war for us, and He gave us Donald Trump to lead us with his trumpets. Pete Hegseth, little Marcos. So we'll be peering into that and the updates on everything Iranian war, which is really the Israel-Iran war, but we're just caught in the middle, caught beneath the landslide there. And there's a lot going on with that, as now protests are beginning to spur up across the United States. Majority of them thus far in the Capitol. Well, I have incredible footage of a former Marine who literally broke his arm trying to protest his Senate, as the Senate today, the United States Senate, took a vote on the War Powers Act. If this is going to be a sanctioned war, don't people have to vote on it? A lot of people said. We haven't seen anything like that since the Iraq War, if you recall. So we'll see if that has anything to do with it in the meanwhile. Also, in case you didn't know, so I seem to be trapped here. In case you didn't know, we do have a guest today. Yes, we do. The wonderful, the great, the always impeccable Jim Fetzer is here today. And he won't be having such a hard time like I have lately. He'll be joining us and giving his outlook on everything with the war in Iran. But before we do, we are broadcasting live on Rumble. Yes, we are. As I am reporting from you, or to you, from Studio B. If you haven't noticed, that's going to change hopefully soon, and you can help change that by bringing World at War back. But we are broadcasting live on Dean Ryan TV as well as the Frozen Rumble. We no longer are doing Facebook, for they have really screwed us multiple times, but this is the last time, I swear. Anyways, let's get started with a few stories from around the world and in your neck of the woods before we bring the great Jim Fetzer up here, as there's so many things happening domestically. I can't even keep up right now. Well, here's just a few things that have caught the fancy and the palate of yours truly right here tonight. Well, there has now been a weird, mysterious blow-up happening in New Jersey. Let me tell you about this domestically before we get into international affairs here. Well, this is a bizarre thing. It's been described as, quote, like a bomb went off. 4 hospitalized in a New Jersey cannabis oil refinery. Explosion felt across 3 states, and shelter in place has been ordered. This is happening right in New Jersey, and how fitting that it'd be a cannabis oil refinery. Well, the massive explosion has now rocked the New Jersey town over there. This Wednesday afternoon, sending at least 4 people to the hospital. Locals have been told to shelter in place until further notice, as the smoke continues to fill the air and people continue to get the munchies like no other. We heard that Krispy Kreme is having record amounts of sales, as well as the White Castle. The request for residents, businesses within a 2-mile radius to stay in, where people said no problem. So that's just a huge, another unknown explosion happening right here in the States, in this case, New Jersey, where it has been taking place at a place called Sativa Naturals, located at 617 Huron Drive. So if you're near the area, you're a little low on weed, want to get some contact high, that's the place to go. You didn't hear it from me. Okay, there's that one. And Jim's taking notes too. I think Jim's on his way to that place right now. Okay, so that's what's happening in New Jersey. Just a little update for you. Now, here's some other interesting things that seem to be taking place now in the Colorado. Speaking of which, Colorado, well, it has been an infamous kind of police state as of late, at least the past 5 years, probably more, but 5 years that we can really recount since the 2020 election. Now, since then, the Colorado governor signals today that he will be commuting the sentence of so-called election denier, an election denier who, remember that? There was a time you could go to jail, in this case for Tina Peters, who denied that Biden won, which was clearly a fraud of an election. Well, she went to jail. Well, now he's considering the release of Tina Peters, the last high-profile 2020 election, quote, meddler, still in prison. His fellow Democrats are outraged, but who cares about them, clearly? Well, that's right. Governor Jared Polis of Colorado has now offered the clear signal as of late Tuesday that he might commute the 9-year sentence of Tina Peters, the last high-profile Trump ally still in prison for crimes stemming from the President Trump's 2020 election so-called loss. Trump has waged an all-out assault on Colorado while pressuring Mr. Polis, a Democrat, to free Ms. Peters. He's blocked hundreds of millions of dollars in federal money from the Democrat-led state, moved the headquarters of the U.S. Space Command from Colorado Springs to Alabama. I did not know that. And promised to shutter a federal atmospheric research center in Boulder, and vetoed an urgently needed water pipeline for the rural Colorado. So, yeah, Colorado is being punished. Now, commuting Ms. Peters' sentence now might appease Mr. Trump, they're saying, critics, and stop those attacks, but it would set off a furious backlash amongst Democrats and imperial Mr. Polis political future, which we're past caring. So all their little concerns are right there in the wastebasket next to the concerns about the Iranian war. See? That's how they are doing that one, apparently. Now, in speaking of that, a lot of people have been worried about the war and what is this going to do with prices? Can cereal get even more expensive? I mean, we're almost paying $12 a box of cereal now. Could it go potentially to 15, 20? What are we looking at here? Well, let me tell you about this now, as the U.S. stock market seems to be bipolar, and it seems to be going the way of whatever the wind and whichever it is blowing. Now the U.S. stocks have now fallen. Oil prices have now surged following the U.S.-Israel strike on Iran, like we didn't see this coming. Well, that's right. This is just another astounding just example of how stupid things have really gotten lately, and this stupid decision to go into war. Well, now the U.S. equity markets have now opened sharply lower, and crude oil prices now have surged at the opening bell as of this morning. Following the overnight military strikes, the Dow Jones average fell by more than 500 points, while the international benchmark for oil, Brent crude, and even others have now jumped approximately up 8% in an early trading stock market. So, yeah, things are going to be going up, and it's only going to get worse because the strategy is really to find a strategy. That is all we know thus far. Just another astounding maneuver. Speaking of that, now there's now a record number of workers who are, well, as we told you, this would be the year that you would see a lot of defaults on loans. You would see a lot of defaults on people's mortgages because there's a lot of layoffs, not just in the labor force, but also in the white-collar management area forces. Well, now a record number of workers are raiding their 401k savings already. Just like all the people that wanted to stock up with emergency food, by the second week, you said, God, this is delicious, and you wound up eating it all. The same thing is now applying for the 401k because there are a lot of young people who are out of work and don't know what to do in a very wartime economy. More Americans are digging into their retirement savings, people have said, because of the financial emergencies that have been underway. A record amount of people will only continue to do so until there's true job growth and the tariffs come to heel in some form or fashion. We'll have to ask Jim a bit more about that. Certainly, I know the feeling, don't we? Here is another one here. This is very interesting, too. This is just happening now. We're now getting word that the House committee over there in D.C. has now subpoenaed Pam Bondi. That's right. House committee subpoenas Pam Bondi once again. I mean, she had such a stellar performance the first time. Why not try to repeat that? We ask ourselves. Well, let me tell you a bit more about this now. As now the House Oversight Committee now has voted to subpoena Attorney General Pam Bondi for a deposition on the Department of Justice handling of the investigation of Jeffrey Epstein and its compliance with a law requiring all documents related to the notorious sex offender be made public, which they haven't. In fact, not only not made public, but have been redacted, if not scrubbed and altered altogether. That's the kind of lunacy that we're dealing with. Now, in a whopping and stunning 24-19 vote by the committee, it came after the growing criticism of the DOJ for failing to release all the Epstein files and reports that it has removed from public view tens of thousands of documents that previously were made public. You know, those glitch in the systems, you know how they happen. Well, yeah, so in any case, the House Oversight Committee now today has now fully voted to subpoena Attorney General Pam Bondi for this entire just debacle and totally misgrievances of handling of the files. The 24-19 vote by the committee came after the growing criticism reached a new fever pitch. The motion subpoena Bondi was introduced by Representative Nancy Mace, a South Carolina Republican, who blasted DOJ earlier for the repression of the files. Here's a quote. She said, quote, AG Bondi claims that DOJ has released all of the Epstein files. The record is clear. They have not. The Epstein case is one of the greatest cover-ups in American history. And let Bondi know that. So, yeah, this has nobody satisfied whatsoever. Not one bit. Not one bit. Well, finally here, before we get to our guest of the evening, well, this is something that we probably saw coming. Marjorie Green Taylor is now floating the question, is Trump's mental capacity, is it stable? Is it all right? How can he be making these decisions? Well, that's a good kind of question. Because nobody knows, nobody has an answer of what this war is all about. And people are wondering, is it just blackmail? I've often wondered, are they poisoning Donald Trump? Because I got whim of that in Trump 1.0. Well, here's some of the things, here's some of the kabuki theater, the double speak, the 1984 isms going around now, from Mike Johnson, Father of the Year, to the Professor of War, Mike or Pete Hegeseth, whoever his name is today. And then you put it all together and you'll decide and find out that there really is no reason, no rhyme, no cause for war with Iran. Here it is. Check it out. It makes absolutely no sense.
Has attacked 3 of our U.S. embassies in the last couple of days. Okay, those are sovereign territories of the U.S. They have declared war on us. I don't believe in the semantics. We've talked about the language this morning. We're not at war right now. We're 4 days in to a very specific, clear mission, an Operation Epic Fury, which has 2 components, as you know, that we have articulated over and over. The president has, the Commander of Joint Chiefs, everybody has explained. 2 points. We had to take care of these ballistic missiles that they were producing at such a rapid pace that our regional allies could not keep up with. We had to ensure that they can't fire all those barrage of missiles at our people, our troops, our assets, our citizens in the region, and our installations. We're taking that out. We had to. It's a
we have 2 clear. There's a clear reason why we're going to war. They are cut to break, cut to commercial. Did you see that? That was like the old thumb trick. Here's another reason why we're going to war, if you hadn't figured it out yet.
And fixing their leaders and their military leaders. Flying over Tehran, flying over Iran, flying over their capital, flying over the IRGC, Iranian leaders looking up and seeing only U.S. and Israeli air power every minute of every day until we decide it's over. And Iran will be able to do nothing about it. B-2s, B-52s, B-1s, Predator drones, fighters, controlling the skies, picking targets. Death and destruction from the sky all day long. We're playing for keeps.
I'm still waiting for the reason. We understand that if you beat your chest loud enough, you're going to have death and destruction all day long for a good cause, right? A little Christian crusader. Well, maybe Miss Leave It Alone can tell us, because I'm still trying to figure this out.
The Secretary of State, and now I am out here today to explain to you exactly what led the president to make the decision to launch Operation Epic Fury. And President Trump does not make these decisions in a vacuum. This decision to launch this operation was based on a cumulative effect of various direct threats that Iran posed to the United States of America. And the president's feeling based on fact that Iran does pose an imminent and direct threat to the United States of America, based on the fact that they are the world's leading state sponsor of terrorism, based on the fact that they were rapidly and aggressively building up their ballistic missile program.
Well, they're doing something terrible. Finally, maybe at least Trump can tell us himself in this 10-second clip. Hopefully.
I tell you what, I have never had more compliments on something I did. People felt it's something that had to be done. So if we have a little high oil prices for a little while, but as soon as this ends, those prices are going to drop, I believe, lower than even before.
Well, someone who can help make sense of the senseless here is with us tonight, our very own Real Deal Media political analyst himself, former Marine, and some say never former, always current, the one, the only, Jim Fetzer. Jim, welcome. Nobody can tell us why we're having a war with the country of Iran, can they?
Because we're attacking Iran on behalf of Israel, and no one wants to admit it. This is Bibi's war. He's conceded that he'd planned this 40 years ago. He's actually literally said, Trump is carrying out the war I planned 40 years ago. He's said it. Max Blumenthal has been emphasizing it with Jimmy Dore. It's outrageous. Iran is anything but the leading terrorist state. Iran is the most peace-dedicated nation in the world. They haven't launched a war of aggression against any other state since 1775. And Dean, remember, our Declaration of Independence was 1776. So, of course, they built up their missile to defend themselves. But they have never taken the initiative. They declared they would never be the first to attack. And Trump claiming that there was an imminent threat is outrageous. Every expert on international law, UN Charter, the Geneva Convention, and all that agrees there was no imminent threat. And that means this attack took place in violation of international law, the UN Charter, the Geneva Conventions. It's all for Iran, for Israel, Dean. We're sacrificing American men, American women, American bases.
Right.
Being massively hit by Iran, Tel Aviv is.
I want to get into that.
Yes.
Yeah, I want to get into the massively hit. Now, this just took place earlier, just a few hours ago. The Senate voted for the Wars Power Act. I want to get your take on that, Jim, and maybe just an overall history of how these votes go, historically speaking, for those who may not know that are not American, how the due process goes for war around here. We'll have Jim explain that, but this is what took place in the United States Senate just hours ago.
That we have there that sort of explains a bit better what we're seeing there from the unofficial tally from this roll call vote. And so right now we have the full 100 votes sitting in there with 48 yays and in the nay column 52. This has been expected at this point. I did want to let you know that the Senate is voting there as on this Democratic-led Iran War Powers resolution that calls for congressional approval for military action against Iran.
Well, the Republicans.
Jim, what's your take?
The Republicans are going to be wiped out at the midterm. This war was unjustified. It's costing massive sums at Treasury. We're using up our missiles. We've had to take a battery from South Korea, transport it all the way to the Middle East in order to defend Iran. Listen, General Kane, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, told Trump in the Oval Office in front of J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio and Jared Kushner that we couldn't fight this war with Iran because we'd given half our missiles to Ukraine and the other half to Israel. We weren't prepared to do it. Trump went ahead anyway. Now he's bringing in B-52s. Can you believe the Israelis have taken out 88 Shia clerics who are voting on the new supreme leader, slaughtered them all in a single attack? That's going to have a unifying effect on the Muslims in the Middle East. And now Kurds are attacking in Iran, and that's going to, I predict, bring in Turkey, who is very anti-Kurd. The whole complexion of the Middle East is changing before our very eyes, and the American empire is collapsing.
Jim, you're absolutely correct on that. I also got word today, within the past 24 hours, that southern Lebanon is now under attack by Israel. Also, that I want to say Saudi Arabia, the Saudis, and Iran, the Iranians, and don't quote me, I want to say Turkey as well, I have to confirm on that, have now captured and arrested would-be Mossad terrorists who are preparing to plant bombs in Turkey and Iran.
It was Qatar, Dean. It was Qatar in Saudi Arabia.
Thank you, Jim. I could see it in my head. Okay, it was Qatar, and Saudi Arabia. Do you know any further information on that? That came out today. They were arresting just a handful of Mossad agents. What's the skinny on that?
Well, remember, I mean, the Mossad is expert in false flag ops, and they're very good at it. This is an unusual case where they were caught and exposed. They wanted to inflame the Gulf nation against Iran by making it look as though Iran were attacking their oil facilities. This is that we're talking about the largest oil facility refinery in the world that they were seeking to blow up. Now, Iran is having to attack the American bases in those countries. But I think this is going to, Saudi Arabia's even said, the United States betrayed us for Israel. So the Saudis are losing their enthusiasm. United Arab Emirates has declared they won't have American bases stationed there again in the future. The whole war is going to pivot around this against Israel and the United States.
Here's Colonel McGregor earlier today speaking roughly on the same sentiment that Jim and myself are. Give us a little further expansion into it all. Here it is.
China and Russia are sitting on the sidelines monitoring everything. They're in close touch with the government. They're providing satellite intelligence, which accounts for some of the tremendous successes, particularly in Israel and on our U.S. bases. All of our bases have been destroyed. Our harbor installations are destroyed. We're actually having to fall back on India and Indian ports, which are less than ideal. That's what the Navy says. And I think Iran, much to our disappointment, is faring very, very well.
Jim, is Iran faring very well? I would say maybe in the court of public opinion they might be, because this was a war of choice and aggression, was it not?
Yes, completely. Oh, it appears Bibi manipulated Trump into it, perhaps threatening to push the Epstein button that would have released all the files he's got on Trump. He's got files on every significant politician in the world today, it would appear. But yeah, Iran is actually doing very well with wave after wave of missile attacks. Militarily, Iran is doing very well. Bringing in the B-52s is not a sign of strength. It's a sign of weakness. It means the original plan has failed and they're having to fall back on plan B. And bringing in the Kurds, I say again, this may draw Turkey into the assistance of Iran because the Turks despise the Kurds and want to do them in. So I think Turkey is going to have a motivation to join Iran. If the situation became dire, Russia and China are not going to allow Iran to fall.
Also, you have now the entrance of Germany, France, and the UK who have been drawn into the war on some level. You have the UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer saying today that he's going to allow the Americans to use the UK air bases. But Jim, I see a lot of this now, last minute joining of the EU countries, the same way we're doing it. Netanyahu's got the blackmail on all of these leaders. That came out in the Palantir leak, just a week ago. So this is by no means, to me, an organic entrance into the war, like maybe we've even seen since the Iraq War. In fact, highly unpopular. This happened today in Capitol Hill when a Marine, former staff sergeant, he had some objections to going into the Iranian war on behest of another country. In fact, here it is. That was definitely not it. But Jim, you want to speak on the unpopularity of the war while I run and go get that get the video if you could.
It's going to get worse. It's going to get worse and worse and worse. We had a 20-cent jump in gas, but it's going to go much, much higher. $10 a gallon is not out of sight, and it could happen sooner than you can say, Jack Robinson. The situation, inflation's going to increase. The market's going to fall. This is all bad news for America in every possible way. Trump has committed a colossal blunder. And as Colonel McGregor put it most simply, for the last several weeks, he's been repeating, we're going to run out of missiles before they run out of missiles. And when that happens, we're just sitting ducks. It's going to happen. The estimate of the Iranian stockpile is 18,000. 18,000. And they're using their old stuff, their lesser stuff. It identifies where the radars, where the anti-missiles, and the Iranian missiles are, for the most part, especially the drones, cheap and inexpensive, and the interceptors cost millions. So it's very cost ratio beneficial to Iran.
Well, that's just it, because, now you also have Spain. You have the country of Spain that will not allow Americans to use their ports to conduct this war. You're seeing for the first time in a long time, Jim, a lot of countries saying no to the imperialist military might of Israel, America here. And Jim, I got to tell you, what that footage that we just saw, 165 little girls in Iran were slaughtered by American bombs that taxpayers are paying for. And that was just look at the funeral size of this. This is unbelievable. Jim, these Christian Zionists are crazy in they're completely took captive of our military. We reported on this last night. You have commanders now telling their military underlings that no, this is what God wants us to do.
Dean, you got muted as you were saying that. You got muted just as you were explaining this Christian Zionist thing on the troops, that this is supposed to be God's will, that Trump is the appointed one. It's lunatic, absolutely lunatic. And Iran has told the European Union that if they support Israel and the U.S. here, they will be struck by Iran, and Iran has the ability to do it, Dean. They mark my words.
And okay, so and then to further make the point, nobody here at home, Jim, especially those who've been in combat, can see any kind of relativity of why we need to be in a war of this nature. In fact, this is what took place today, and it shows you another effort of how they want to shut down dissent in this country. Hence why we have now all of the federalities in every city to really put a clamp down on any kind of dissidence against this war. This is what it was all about to begin with. Here it is.
Israel is the reason for this war. America does not want to fight this war for Israel.
Let's go. Come on, let's go.
America does not want to send its sons and daughters to war for Israel. Your inability to name that shows your exemptness as leaders. This is wrong. And nobody wants to fight for Israel.
A reminder to all our
Commandant, please stand up as a Marine and stand up for America. No one wants to fight for Israel. No one wants to fight for Israel.
His hand. Oh, his hand.
Sir. Let go of your hand. Let go of the door. Let go of the door. The senator broke his hand. A sitting U.S. senator just broke the hand of a Marine. Sir. Okay. Control your Senate. We're stuck in the door. Okay, sir. A U.S. senator just broke the hand of a Marine. Hand's stuck. A U.S.
Jim, that must infuriate you as a Marine to see that.
Infuriate. That's one of the most disgusting events I've ever seen. What happened to freedom of speech? He was a Marine Corps sergeant in uniform, for Christ's sake. He is entitled to speak his piece under the Constitution. This is completely outrageous, Dean. Outrageous. Those might as well be Israeli goons who were assaulting him. I'm furious, furious.
Aren't we all, Jim? Aren't we all furious? Just like all those parents who lost their kids over there in Iran for no reason other than at behest of Israel and at behest of an American president who's trying to cover up, the Epstein file. I mean, this is wag the dog gone insane. Jim, that makes me infuriated too, Jim. Do we see now why there are the federales now in every city? Because there's going to be major protests. They can't come up with a good reason. Now, I don't want anyone to let it go of all the senators who voted for this war today in a, 52 to 48 vote.
Disgusting to turn down that war resolution. That's just disgusting. The Republicans are going to take a bloodbath in November. I won't even vote for him. I voted for Donald Trump 3 times. I'll be damned if I'll vote for these warmongers. To hell with them. To hell with them.
Yeah. I'm with you, Jim. Yeah, we have, two psyoped parties, two controlled oppositions they're running this country into the ground. We're about to topple over financially here. And now the close of the Strait of Hormuz is the cherry on top of it all. Jim, I know you have to go, but on another note, I know we just lost another great in the world of sports. Probably the ultimate iconic, just curb of what you want to be as a coach. Former coach of Notre Dame, Lou Holtz, just passed away. Talk about a historical character, iconic. Any words on that, since you're a huge college football admirer?
Well, he led 6 different teams to bowl games. No one else has ever done that. 4 different teams to the top 15 at the end of the season. 1988, Notre Dame had a 12-0 national championship. And he was very blunt about the woke agenda and didn't believe that there was any place for men and women's sports. And I just say he was a legend in his time, and his spirit will live on.
Yes, it will. And he overcame the disabilities and handicaps of being deaf too, I might add, and really showed that nothing could stop him and hold him back, like many people out there. Jim, thank you for being here tonight at Late Night Update. And next time, hopefully you'll be at that hearing, because I don't think they'll be able to stop you in your prowess, Jim Fetzer. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dean.
Okay, thank you very much, Jim. We'll see you soon. Okay, we're going to take this quick break here at Late Night Update. As you saw, the emotions are pretty high and unusual here tonight, and I would say around the country, if not the world, because we've been here before. We've been through this slow walk of the slow dance, it appears, of history repeating itself, but a really accelerated urgency to go to war nonetheless. And we have to say no to it on every front, from every ally who can see the same kind of derelict of duty that's clearly happening here. No matter what other podcasts might say otherwise, we have to report on what's tangible right here. Okay, so anyways, we're going to take this quick break right here on Late Night Update. When we get back, we'll get to some of your comments, concerns, questions, because that was a tough video to watch, I tell you. And what are we going to do about it? Because these people, they don't seem to care. They care as much as trying to find a reason for the peanut gallery to give us, because they don't have one. That's how it feels. Anyways, stand by. We'll be back after this quick break.
That we have there that sort of explains a bit better what we're seeing there from the unofficial tally from this roll call vote. And so right now we have the full 100 votes sitting in there with 48 8 yays and in the nay column 52. This has been expected at this point. I did want to let you know that the Senate is voting there as on this Democratic-led Iran War Powers resolution that calls for congressional approval for military action against Iran.
We are back. We are back. Well, we're also trying to bring back World at War, which feels like is weeks away. You can be part of history, bringing the #1 late night show back to its rightful place. World at War. All you have to do is go to givesendgo.com/World at War. That's givesendgo.com/World at War. Bring back the show that reminded you it's more than a virus. It's war. Also, we want to thank our Real Deal Media members who make this all possible. Yes, we call them the Night Owls. They're up late, never up early, but always see things that others just can't see. Want to join the cause, the late night cause? Become a Real Deal Media Night Owl by going to realdealmedia.tv. Sign up tonight, and why wait tomorrow? Why wait for tomorrow? Okay, we are back now. Thank you, Bubbles. Late Night Update is now returning with the Zionists War with Iran. What a title. What a title. Good evening, everybody. Still, I'm still Dean Ryan, your cruise director, who's cruising with you to midnight and beyond. And it's getting a little dark in here, and some people are afraid of the dark. I just say, hell with that. 0 dark 30. Anyways, we're going to take some, I'm going to look at the live chats because this is, we are seeing the final, I think the final days of any kind of influence that the Trump administration may have over other people of Senate or Congress for that fact, and media. If you look back to the Iraq War and the Bush administration had a huge bully pulpit following 9/11. They could literally get anything done, which they did. We saw the installation of DHS. We saw the installation of the Patriot Act. We saw the complete and utter shredding and the gutting of the Fourth Amendment for everything we know. And they passed the war with Iraq, another country that Israel wanted to rid and get out of the way. And look, I mean, you know, before the people didn't have to really talk about the Israel situation. But then it's every day, because it's in every which way. We're finding out some of the biggest catastrophes this country has ever had to endure. The assassinations, the lead up to wars, false flags, all stems from the Zionist. And if you can't deal with it and you don't deal with it, and it's how we got where we are today. And, that's why I had to really step back for a minute and think about, gee, is there really some kind of cryptic message coming from the White House, considering it has to go through the filtration of the, Mossad that has their own floor in the Pentagon, has full access to the White House, completely have circumvented Donald Trump with the Lubavitch Shabbat people, where we have each and every administration pick in the cabinet literally saying, in some form or fashion, that the greatest and most proudest effort they can make as a member of the administration is the protection and the servitude to Israel. I mean, if that's not treason, which it is, then I don't know what to tell you. And we have to hold the line. We have to take notes of each and every soul that has voted for this war, each and every person that has pledged allegiance to this country, that is no ally. This is anything but an ally. They're getting ready to wipe their hands clean of us, Americans, and really start latching onto and leeching onto India next. And just think that we have a congressperson in Florida named Randy Fine, who is gleefully happy of the ethnic cleansing, who is now trying to make a 3 times of a felony, not even a misdemeanor, for critiquing and criticizing anything Israel. I don't advocate for violence often. I don't really do it. But for that guy, I'm not advocating for violence. I'm advocating for a more than mutual feeling, to put it frankly, because that's what being American is all about. And I don't know how else to say. We don't have saboteurs or enemies outside of the country. No, they're right here. They're inside here. They're running the country. They're running the media and every aspect of it. That's my late night thought that just randomly comes up here. What do you think out there? What are your late night thoughts, to be exact? Because I could go on and I could really just speak on it until I just get blue in the face, because I ain't happy about it one bit. Here's some people who are yapping it up here. We have the Mr. Peagle saying based Jim. Okay, based Jim. I know this is I'm going to have to figure out what based means. These are the terms that I'm lacking. But thank you. I'll tell him you said that. Hammer Time says China should stick to making dim sum. Thank you. Dim sum. Okay. Hammer Time, that would be the Cantonese. The Mandarin make a different version. So which part of the Chinese? Thank you very much for that. We have Mr. Watlin, our unsung hero. Thank you for being here. He says the following. The Rothschild banking will fund it from the shadows. That's the City of London. Yeah. There's another Zionist. It's just, I don't even know. It's just these people. It's cancer. Okay. Here we have Miss Margaret. Thank you over there on Rumble saying the following. Controlled media only wants the normies to see what will keep them entertained and not informed. Yeah, because it's so easy to do. You throw a little football out there, create a little controversy, call Kid Rock, say, hey, want to make a few bucks. That's all it takes. It's all it takes. It's like, the laser pen on the wall, the cats go crazy for it. But it's the ones who don't that they're worried about. And that's this crew over here. That's the people. That's the most effective audience right here around the world. That's what they're scared of. Because when the women start understanding the geopolitics, it's game over. Usually it's just a man kind of ordeal, but I'm telling you, this is not. You just saw 165 girls who were killed in Iran that were bombed. Now you want to hear the stupid stories about, the protesters that were just killed by the Iranian guard. Yeah, protesters with Gatling guns, grenade launchers, aka CIA and Mossad. This is an evil doing. I don't care. Nobody's going to be able to sell this to me that this was not an evil, sick, disgusting act of betrayal and cowardice. I mean, there's no. I mean, I get people who are telling me I got to go listen to other people to figure out how I'm wrong. Okay, well, here we have this one. Look at this one. David Nader says, well, I won't say that one. Thank you, David Nader. We have a lot of people. I'm just trying to catch up here. This is a good one. Miss Aussie Girl. Here we have it. Christians support the biblical Jewish pie hole, not the Zionists, which explained to me the Zionists are political. Yes, they are. Eastern political group of the far-reaching fringe ends of Russia/Ukraine that wanted to do a coup d'etat on the Russian monarch in the early 1900s, which gave us World War I. They butchered them. They coerced them into their basement, the parents of Anastasia, and they said they were going to take family photos of them. And in the meanwhile of doing so, they wound up shooting them all in the basement. It was very sad. That's the Zionists for you. Then they did a brutal coup d'etat on Russia, and then the Zionists installed Stalin, Trotsky, all these different things, because it's the Zionists that created and gave us communism as you know it, the gulags. And if you want to hear how disgusting the gulags were and everything that took place in Russia in the early 1900s onward, go see that forbidden movie, Europa. At least the first fraction of it puts it all in perspective. It's and apparently so that happens, and then fast forward a little bit later in the 30s, they're trying to do the same thing. The Zionists try to do the same thing on Germany, because there's a lot of disdain that the Zionists have for Europeans in general, and why they want to get rid of the white people on the West, because the white people in the West, who all kind of came out here as dissidents from the monarchs, the monarchies of old, the rebels, if you will, and they all came west, and they figured, well, you know what, we can't control them. They're a problem. They'll believe in this Constitution, the Bill of Rights kind of thing. That really gets in our way. We need to eradicate them. What better way than to convince them to kill themselves through miracle jabs? Yeah, that's it. We'll tell them there's a very serious flu from a bat from Wuhan. We'll have a guy with a rubber mask tell him, the guy who gave us AIDS, we'll have him do that. We'll pay off the stars to make it sound popular, and that'll be great. Plus, they're waking up too fast to Zionism. We got to take them out. Ain't that right, Gigi Payne? Yeah. See? We got it all figured out here. Jim was legitimately upset too. I don't know if you picked up on that. I almost feel I should have never showed him that, because I started getting worried myself, starting to sweat. Here's some other things here. We have Rebel Mama over there on Rumble that says, don't worry, the aliens will save us. The aliens will save us. I hope so. I hope Alf and ET can team up and take these people out, because we have a bunch of traitors running this federal government right now, and our military. The Christian zealots out there, why don't they come together, get a big flotilla, put a bunch of bullets and arms, everything there. Why don't we ship them to Iran? They could go fight for their own made-up country they can figure out. They could call it evangelical, the United Evangelical Nations, because we're tired of these wars for Israel, as that Marine eloquently said earlier. Well, I sure love compliments. Thank you, Hammer Time. Excellent, Dean. You got a history of being spun. You know what? I do. And it takes. You're going to get hit though when you do it. Thank you, Hammer Time. I've literally, looking at my record of calling all these things, a good 90%. So much hard to remember. A lot of people do take from this show and then take it and make it their own. I stopped keeping track, But yeah, I can see what's going on here, because I remember the Iraq War vividly and how that all went, and the enthusiasm for it, and the people who were against it. They were labeled as just crazy left-wing nutbags who hated the country in post 9/11 world. Right now, you don't even have that. You don't even have that demographic to make a straw man. You can't say, well, it's only Antifa people and the Pink Panther people in Washington that don't like this war. You don't want to be like them, right? They don't even have that. The majority of the American people as a whole are against this. So when the Ayatollah just days ago sent a message to the American people saying, when we say death to America, we're not talking about you as Americans. We're talking about the leaders who are bringing this war upon my people, the Zionists. He literally said that, but you got to be so stupid not to hear that, because your feeding tube of information is hooked up to the Fox News, Eiffel Tower there that just feeds you what truth and reality is or isn't. And that's how people really are deciding things. I say something, well, it can't be true until, Jesse Waters says it on his show. Well, Jesse Waters can't say shit on his show, because if him or people like Bill Maher were to tell the truth about Zionism, you think they would have a show to even be saying that on left? I don't think so. So that's why Bill Maher has to play stupid, and so does Jesse Waters. They'll have to be cheerleaders for this war. Even on the what is the new show called? PMSNBC. It's called whatever, MSN Now, or even Mr. Maddow. They're for the war. So you see this, they're all for the wars. Monopolization. General Electric, who actually has huge stock shares in NBC. Well, the GE, they make the war weapons in these wartime industries that are just going up. Boom. People are getting so much money right now. That's why you had a lot of those Republican senators who are just a bunch of traitors. And Lindsey Graham, by far, I don't know how he manages to stay in office, but people should be rushing these people's places, their offices, to let them know that we know who the traitors are. And we should never forget this. This should have been a time where a person like Donald Trump could have just waltzed into the White House after 4 years of whatever the hell that was and just have a cakewalk. Now, if he knew he was just so blackmailed, why even go back into a position where he'd be put into this position to make it? Well, but now we have to go to war. Unless the guy's dead, unless the guy's being drugged up, often suspected for quite some time. And I can say that because we know that the last guy who was supposed to be president, that guy was definitely dead. That was definitely an actor. And if they can do it to that, on that large of a scale, to a president like that, an American president, who says they can't do it again? Well, because we were promised at the back of a Cracker Barrel, Cracker Jack box, or these cryptic things that, oh, this can't happen, we're in full control. Well, if this is in full control, I'm sorry, but it doesn't look like that. We've lost 6 servicemen, 156 little girls in Iran had to die because of these people. And just like you heard Jim say, there was a whole Senate of politicians in Iran that were going to vote for a new leader. This just happened. And guess what? They all got obliterated. So there is no new leader. They can't have any, electoral process now because they're getting killed. They're getting wiped off the map. Another ethnic cleansing by a non-Semite country. The fake Jews of Israel. Yeah. Oh, that's anti-Semitic. Well, they're not Semites. If they're Semites, why did why does Jonathan J.J. Sullivan, aka Netanyahu, every prime minister's had to change their name. They're all European. And they're enemies of this country. Enemies of this country. Don't forget that. Pisses me off now. Now it makes sense why they had to install all these hate speech laws, because they knew there would be a time and a place when they were going to have to do these dastardly acts of war They knew that nobody was going to like it on the American side, and they had to preemptively shut us down and criminalize us as just anti-heretics against them. You see how this works? And, you know, somebody tell me, what's the punishment for treason out there? My brain's a little foggy. Maybe you can help me. I can't seem to remember exactly. Good Lord. Okay. Yeah, I don't. It's somebody. Anyways, here we have Exact, who's exactly on the money every night. Thank you for being here. MAGA is over, except for mega churches and nursing homes. Oh God, you're right. Now, Exact, you did say that you didn't believe he was going to start a war before the midterms. I'm here to tell you, it's okay. It was going to happen no matter what. But we're all those kind of gamblers. We're off by a day or two. Okay, here's another one. We have Hammer Time is certainly on fire tonight. Thank you. It should be the Hammer Time show. Hammer Time says, "Hey folks, remember when they gave out those miracle jabs? People were reading Wi-Fi and Bluetooth addresses. Maybe that's how they're finding these targets." Oh, that's a good point. That's a good point. Wait, whose targets? The Iranians finding their targets, or the Americans are finding our targets because of the? Please explain if you could, and hopefully I'll see your response. Thank you, Hammer Time. Yes, it's a religious war going on, I believe. Yeah, it is. Thank you, Aussie girl. Definitely a religious war. I mean, does anybody out there? Does anybody know? Does anybody have kids? Sons, daughters, nephews, nieces that are in the armed services that are being deployed right now? I know a few. Some have been connected to the show here, whose son, 18, just graduated high school last year, was so excited to start life, excited that we had a peacetime president, joins the Navy, and guess where he's now deployed in just a sitting duck over there in the Iranian peninsulas. And you know, you have these leaders just hoping that Iran fires a missile at that ship to take it down to justify the war even more so, like the Gulf of Tonkin. And I can tell you, the family who is was staunchly pro Donald Trump now, Trump administration, I can guarantee you they are staunchly against the Trump administration. So, you know, when you tell people like me I'm wrong out there, explain to the family who's about to lose, could lose, and people who have lost their sons and daughters, we've already lost 6. Explain to them how that's part of the plan. That's part of the plan. Well, it can't be, you know, what's right in front of us. No way it could be that. Yeah, Dave, I think you're right. I have this battle constantly, nightly. There's a battle going on for your soul. Yep. It's definitely a soul asylum of sorts. Trump told you he died in 2020. I felt that way for a long time. I felt since 2020. Thank you for that. Since 2020, Aussie Room, to me, Donald Trump has not been the same person. You look back at the Trump versus Biden debate in 2020. That was a half-assed debate. There was no capitalization on that. I think he was told to just, you know, go with the motions. You're going to be back in, and then got jilted at the last second. But yeah, and then if it were me, think about just the normalities of it all. For the next 4 years, you're somewhat quiet. You don't scream at the top of your lungs of a mountain how you just got cheated in an election. You just say it was stolen. No further questions, you know, just like the assassination attempt. Oh, there was an assassination attempt on me. I got shot in my ear, but we're going to close any investigations. I don't want to talk about it anymore. In my ear, it healed in about 5 hours. I mean, that's the lunacy of this whole thing. That's the lunacy of it all. We're just supposed to be, you know, shutting ourselves down and just going along to get along, like we're a bunch of audience members at the TPUSA conventions. Good Lord. Here we have a wonderful for a patient of mine, Rebel Mama, who is a patient of the Dr. Ryan television network. She said, "I'd like to thank Dr. Ryan for his advice last night about sauerkraut. It's working." Let me tell you something. Sauerkraut, okay, and kimchi too, although I can't stand kimchi, but, you know, cabbage in general, sauerkraut, is one of the most miracle foods, anti-cancer foods, just one of the greatest things you can ever eat, because it truly is the gut, is the suppressor and oppressor of emotions. It's where everything stems from. And if you can have a clean area in your gut at behest, you know, using the sauerkrauts of the world, that was some advice given by the Natural News folks, then I think you're doing good. So that's not a bad thing to do. So that's something to look into. Thank you for sharing that. Oh, I love sauerkraut. It doesn't sound pleasant. I wouldn't touch it for the majority of my life until the last couple of years. And I'm like, what have I been doing wrong this whole time? Why not? Sauerkraut's great. And now you may very well like kimchi, and that's on you, but it's a very strong food, if you will. Here we have the real General Mahdi saying thank you. He says that pretty stiff penalty for treason. Yes, it is. Yeah, it certainly is. It certainly is. Okay, that's going to leave us now. Oh, here it is. Thank you, Frankie. There it is right there. Okay. Death by hanging. What does that say? Death by hanging and firing squad, U.S. Code 182381. Well, look, if the United States government puts in a spy for Israel in prison, what was it, 1987, where you had an American citizen who just happened to be Jewish, literally managed to work his way into the upper echelons of the United States federal government, manages to get the nuke codes and all that information and gives it to Israel, who then gives it to who? Russia at that time. The greatest, that he's been known as the greatest spy to ever fully successfully penetrate the American government. Well, then I would say, well, what about what about what's his name? I blanked out. What was the guy's name? John. So the Israeli spy, his name was Jonathan something. And then there's Snowden. You know, Snowden managed to really turn things upside down. But I can't remember the first guy's name. Anyways, it escapes me. But thank you very much for that, Frankie. The good call there. Here we have Jules MD. Jules, this is what I've been saying for a long time. I hear there's like 6 different Trumps. Wow. Yeah. I'm telling you, don't know who. I don't know who we're talking about. I think they're in full control of the Trump puppet. They being the Mossad. I think they're in full control of whoever is playing Donald Trump, or if it's really him. They've got him under thallium poisoning, because this makes absolutely no sense. You can always tell that it's not Donald Trump when there's just I've always could tell when there's just like a little press conference and he goes out of his way to say very Donald Trump kind of things. You know what I mean? It's like, it's out of character that you don't have to prove that you're doing Donald. It's like a Donald Trump impersonator kind of thing. Yeah, we don't know who the hell we're going on. We've showed you for many times at the his State of, not the Union speech, but the one last year on TV with little Marco behind him and little JD behind him. We saw 2 Trumps in the same frame with different teeth. So clearly they're using CGI of sorts. But that's all they have to do. That's all they have to do. Some of these leaders, if you think about it, you really want to get down to it and get creeped out. This can be, some of these people can be a complete concoction of the intelligence states, meaning they're not even real people, like Melee of Argentina or whoever. I'm not saying that he's not. And they could just build up their profile. I mean, look what they did to Barack Obama. They built up this guy's history that's fake. Like he was a constitutional lawyer, bullshit. We looked into it. He only had like 5 cases, were hardly anything. Look at Justin Trudeau. He was a school teacher. That's all he was. And then he just ran for office. See, all these very concocted narratives and stories, because they're all a bunch of spooks. It's all tied into the military-industrial complex. We need to have somebody. We're not going to let anybody like a Thomas Massey into the Oval Office. They have to be pro-war, because that's where the money is made. It just really is just bust my hump. It's, yeah. Here we have Aussie Girl following. Iran, like other countries, Canada, etc., is not the people per se. It's the government in control. Well, you know, I mean, that's just it. But, you know, I'm not, it could be any government in Iran. It could be any government in Iran. Because look what they did to Libya and Gaddafi. They said, Gaddafi, if you give up your weapons, we're going to leave you alone. So he did that. If you allow our corporations in there, we'll leave you alone. He did all those things. He let the inspectors in. They still killed him, because they want they, being Israel, want complete control of the region. They want to control all of the Middle East. They don't want to change the flags of everything. They want to put their own puppetry president in. They have the son of the Shah, who's really the son of the Zionists, and really a son of a bitch. They have him ready to go to be to replace the Ayatollah. And do you think that's going to fare well with these people who just, did you see that funeral? For 165 little girls that were dead because of these bombs. Do you think the people of Iran, who are just like us, they're going to the malls and doing everything we do, get their car washed, having trouble with tech issues like I do, and, you know, just all those things that we have to go through. They're doing it too. This is disrupting their day and their work week and what they have to look forward to. And on top of it all, and we're killing their children, our tax dollars. So how do you justify even paying taxes this coming April 15th? That's the big one right there. Why would we pay taxes to a foreign government calling itself our federal government, who are doing things so illegal that I couldn't even keep up, but they want your money in the meanwhile? Then they want you to pray for them too. You see? Because, you know, we dictate what other countries do. We're the anointed ones. We're the chosen ones. That's how these Christian zealots see it. That's how these Zionists see it. And meanwhile, we're just the cannon fodder. We're no fortunate sons around here. No. Like that old song goes, no. We're just the dirty custodians. They get to do the dirty work for the God's chosen people, who said, you know, we're all just a bunch of dogs. They don't have to tell us the truth or anything. It's in their Torah. They could just S on us, and we're supposed to love it, every second of it. Anyways, doesn't take much. Doesn't take much around here. Yes. What about, we have, this is a great question. What about what happened in Ecuador last night? The U.S. apparently attacked them under the guise of narco. Yeah, that's another thing. Who's ever going to trust us again? So now we're now in war with Ecuador and Latin America, for all we know. It's never going to be the same. Yeah, it's over. We would have to literally rid this federal government completely from the bailiff to the, you know, the guys that work the door. I mean, literally everybody, every senator, every congressman, to have any kind of standing chance in front of the world ever again, because our name is totally dirt right now. It's so embarrassing. So embarrassing. You know, they didn't ask for this. Okay, one more, and then I'm out of here. And we have a special show tomorrow night I'll tell you about. Yeah, not everybody can do cabbage. Not everyone's a fan of cabbage. I actually am. We used to, every St. Patrick's Day, we do the boiled cabbage and all that stuff. Okay. Yes, billions and billions and billions. Okay, here it is. Here is this one here, and this is it right here. Yeah, Hazmat says billions and billions of dollars. Yeah, this is going to cost us billions of dollars. Billions of dollars. It's the Trump philosophy, that is. Yeah, this is going to cost billions, and not to mention the treaty we have to sign with Israel. not only they signed the treaty with us to be our AI partners, isn't that just lovely? We have a treaty of like a letter of intent that we Americans will be giving Israel upwards of $10 billion a year for the next 20 years. Now, how is that fair? How does that even make sense? And you can't make sense of it. You know why? They're getting a lot of this from the Social Security. All the people that paid into it. That's why the young people won't be receiving Social Security. They've divvied it out. So they'll send 10 billion to Israel. Let's say 3 billion of that, maybe a little more, a little less, is kickback for all the people that voted for that. So they send it, scrub it, bring it back to the senators' offshore accounts, who gave them the green light to do so. So we have treason so high, I can't even think so. Here's a great comment to end on right here. This is an Aussie girl who's definitely been on fire tonight, no doubt about that. She said the following. She says, I don't think so, Dean. This is playing out biblically. Trump doesn't even know this according to the prophet. You should listen to Jonathan Cahn. He explains the whole thing perfectly. Oh, okay, so no, Jonathan should listen to me. How come I got to always listen to other people? How about the fact that, okay, the revelations, as you say, they have to literally recreate the revelations. It's a way to get Christians to lay down and say, oh, this is just part of the plan, part of the revelations. Go to this book. No, they have to dye a cow red, and that didn't work out well. So they had to push that back to God knows when. They have to bring locust everywhere. I mean, this is so not organic to be called revelations. And we're finding a lot out about Schofield in that Bible that pastors teach from, that everything needs to be reexamined again. This is as revelations as Christmas in July is Christmas. It has its moments of horror, shock, but it also has moments of just, this is complete and utter fabrication, and somebody needs a broken nose right now. That's how I feel about it. So, but thank you anyways. And you tell Mr. Jonathan Cahn from the Wrath of Khan, have him, I love to have him on the show, though. He seems like a nice guy. Oh, God. But no, please don't get mad at me for that. All right. So on that note, I'm going to end it there. Just quick show notes here. Tomorrow night, we have a big show tomorrow night. I have to confirm it. We have the great Neil Bishop joining us, and I think we may have Professor Corey Daniel join us, as he's discovered something new in his laboratory. Yes, he has. Those chemicals can get to you. We'll see what is brewing with him tomorrow night. Thursday, that's going to be, I want to say, special time, the usual time, 10 p.m. On the money. It's going to be for Real Deal Media Live. That's going to be a very lively, festive kind of night. Tell us what you really think. Well, you know what? Don't blame me. Blame Jim. When Jim gets mad, I follow. I shadow that. I can't help it. It's all on him. We just that's how I feel. Anyways, with that said, so tomorrow night you don't want to miss it. Real Deal Media Live with Neil Bishop, okay, and potentially Mr. Corey Daniel, who is going to be talking about some new discoveries. I can't wait for that. So you don't want to miss that. That's tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Eastern. Okay, final thought here is the Christian-Zionist war with Iran as we close this episode. It just goes to show that, a lot of people, they say, have said over the years, my problem with the Jesus story isn't Jesus at all. It's his disciples who've perversed his story. And I think that when you look back at a saying like that and you see what's happening now, and you ask yourself, would a Christ-like figure wage war and speak of waging war the way Pete Hegseth and all these other people in the administration, would they speak like that? Would they act like that? And would they do unto others that they never wanted to do or happen to themselves? So those are the kind of questions that you have to ask. And, you know, the story of Christ it's a great story. It's a story about forgiveness. It's a story about restraint, responsibility, and doing the right thing at the very least. And that's something, and certainly something that we're not seeing happen in the modern day. And it doesn't take a man on a big TV set with, you know, 1,000 operators around him to let you know that as truth. You should know that as truth within, in your own due diligence, your consolidations and quiets. That's where you find the true meaning of what this is all about. And that's what they call character. And a lot of you have that out there. And that's something I strive for on the daily and the nightly. And that's something this country, America, needs to find itself again. True character. So on that note, thank you for spending some of your late night here with Late Night Update. For all of us here at Real Deal Media's Late Night Update, for Jim and myself, I'm Dean Ryan saying thank you. In the meanwhile, I'll see you guys tomorrow night. Don't miss the 10 p.m. Eastern. Till then, always remember to stay tuned and stay awake. Good night, everybody.